And in a moment, we're going to find out about these two fighters as we head to the tail of the tape. And there it is for Cuello with both the height and reach advantage over Matsumoto, who has never fought outside of Japan. This is Matsumoto's first fight at age 31 outside of Japan. So we'll see how he fares making a road trip against Denver Cuello, of course, from this country. So we'll see how they play out. And a reminder of the rules that we've already seen: 10-point must, no standing 8 count. As you look down the rules, and as I mentioned, if it ends before the 4th round because of a foul or an accidental foul, it would be a no contest. After 4, they'd go to the scorecards.
Well, Al, there's nothing like getting up early in the morning and getting off to a bang start right off the bat.
This is our version of breakfast at Wimbledon, but a little bit more explosive.
We're in the Arenate Coliseum. And as everybody remembers, of course, Bob Arum has great stories about the Thrilla in Manila. Now, notice the date, officially October 1st, September 30th on the poster, which I found interesting coming in. And what a night it was. I mean, the war, the stories about how Frazier could not come out. And one of the great myths about that fight that I was talking to Mr. Arum about was that everybody said, oh, it was 125 in the ring. Well, nobody can survive at 125 degrees, but it was warm and humid, as we found out.
And both those fighters created really one of the great fights of all time. Ali controlling the early rounds, Joe Frazier in the middle rounds, getting Ali on the ropes and hitting him with shots that would bring a building down. And Ali got through it and, of course, ultimately won that fight. And here comes Hiroshi Matsumoto.
First fight outside of Japan. He's 3-6-1 in his last 10 bouts. And after that quick knockout, maybe they had to really strap him on and get him out here as quickly as possible. But we haven't seen him fight, but I can guess he is one of those Asian-type warriors that will come in, and we expect fast action, especially at minimum weight. Now, over the years, as we've seen minimum weight fighters, sometimes they hit the canvas a lot and they bounce right back up and go right back at it. And he's got an international television audience here, and some fans, obviously, in the arena.
That's for sure. And he is not a monstrous knockout puncher. Only 8 KOs in his 18 wins. But he is an action fighter by all accounts. And he comes in off a win over Makoto Suzuki, an 8-round unanimous decision win. As you mentioned, overall in his last 10 fights, he struggled a bit. He's hoping to do a little bit better against Denver Cuello.
He's a 14-year pro. All his fights, one more time, all in Japan, but he has fought twice for the Japanese minimum weight title, and here comes the local hero, Denver Cuello, 22 years old. We're going to see a couple of southpaws out in there that we should mention. And this young man, Denver, is ranked number 11 by the WBC. He is the Filipino minimum weight champion, hasn't lost since June 06 when he was TKO'd in the second round by Ray Magreno. He turned pro in 04. He's been cut a couple of times in the ring, but he won that title in 07. 7-7-07. He rolled 3 sevens. A unanimous decision against Armand De La Cruz, and right now it's time to get set for this one with Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, in association with Solar Sports and Wonky Salute Promotions, presents a vacant championship attraction. It is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council President Jose Suleiman, President of the WBC International Mauro Betti, and the supervisor is Eric Buhain. Our timekeepers at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns, Eduardo Coronel and Leonardo Trinidad. Introducing our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside: from the Philippines, Ray Danseco; from Japan, Kazumasa Kuwata; and from New Zealand, Bruce McTavish. Introducing our 3rd man in the ring, our referee in charge of this bout from the United States, Gene Del Bianco. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBC International Minimum Weight Championship. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks with black trim, he weighed in at a ready 103 1/2 pounds. His record 22 wins, 13 losses, and 2 draws, with 13 wins coming by way of knockout from Tokyo, Japan. Please welcome Hiroshi Matsumoto. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing multicolored trunks. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 103 1/2 pounds. His record stands at 17 wins, 3 losses, and 6 draws, with 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Hailing from Binangonan, Rizal in the Philippines, introducing Denver Cuello. Let's get a referee in charge, Gene Del Bianco, now to give instructions.
Gentlemen. Okay, we discussed the rules in the dressing room, okay? I want you to watch the heads, okay? Now, here, anything above here is good, anything below here is not good, okay? I want to make sure you guys have a clean fight. Let's touch gloves. Best of luck. Let's get to work.
Final instructions from Gene Del Blanco coming into this one. Both fighters weighing in, as Jimmy said, at 103 1/2 pounds. A little different here in the Philippines. The ring girl comes out after the referee's announcement to announce that it's round 1.
A slight variation.
A slight variation. We're scheduled for 12. Cuello's in the green, white, and red trunks. Matsumoto in the white with the black trim. Both fighters left-handed, both come out firing jabs.
Cuello with a strange aberration in his record, 5 draws, which is so rare to see that many already in a fighter's career.
Well, they're not wasting any time. They're coming out right in the center and throwing already, Al. And Matsumoto was staggered a little bit and checked his footing, and he's getting hammered as Cuello's just unloading that left hand.
An action-packed first round, and when you have 2 lefties who are not typically boxer types, they make for an action fight like this.
Well, Cuello throwing right hooks, straight lefts. They're not exactly trying to set the tone with their jab, Al, coming out here in the first round. They're just going head-hunting right from the start. And now Matsumoto's actually got time to talk to his corner.
They are wailing away.
He's just turned around and speaking to his corner right in the middle of the action there. And 1 minute into the fight.
Hey, keep him up, keep him up.
Matsumoto having so much trouble with his balance.
Yes, he is. And it could be because of the punches he's catching. You know, he's trying to dig into the body. Crowd loving the action here on a Sunday morning.
Matsumoto's making one extraordinarily big mistake. When he throws the right hook to the body, he's leaving that right very low, and he's open for counter punches. A straight left, and there it landed again by Cuello.
And he's leading, Matsumoto's also leading with his head there as he leaves himself off balance, and then he hits on the break. Just gets a warning from Del Blanco.
Action-packed first round.
No, absolutely.
They're trading right hooks, and you know the problem is I think Matsumoto's not as powerful as Cuello's, and that's a dangerous thing for Matsumoto.
They've got a cut on the eye of Matsumoto right now. He took a kidney shot, and then back of the head, and they're going to send him to the corner as they take a look at the cut.
Don't know if that came from a clash of heads or a punch. It's very hard to tell. We've had eventful first rounds here already this morning and this evening where many of you are watching.
Punch.
Well, he looked like he was in trouble on the ropes, Al, right there, and got turned around sideways. They're ruling it was from a punch.
Okay, neutral.
We'll take a look at it a little bit later. I would tend to think it was. I saw Cuello go to, now there's a cut on the top of Cuello's head, so maybe it was a headbutt, because he's cut too, on the top of his head right there over his left temple.
Yeah, they may have banged heads during the course of that furious action. There was a lot of awkward action. That's a very bad cut. Now, if it is ruled a clash of heads and the fight has to be stopped before 4 rounds, it would be a no decision.
Right.
Well, Matsumoto's got his hands full in there, Al. And one thing you pointed out was his balance. He just caught a big left right there, and then a right hand, too. So Cuello, at this point, realizing with the cuts, the best way not to have it go to scorecards is to end it.
Well, the 22-year-old Cuello believes he's the next star in the Filipino world in this minimum weight or possibly flyweight, the junior flyweight category, where they have many good fighters, and he has shown a lot here in round 1.
Undefeated in his last 10 fights, and now it's become a lot of blood for Cuello's head as we end round 1, a bloody first round. And we'll probably take a look at actually what happened in there, but they'll go to work now on the top of the head a little bit. Now that's not going to be that much of a problem now, a cut like that.
That's typically not a place where they would stop a fight because of it. We don't know if that in any way, shape, or form was part of what caused the eye to be cut. We don't have an official ruling yet, or we haven't seen one. We'll take a look. Now there, they kind of banged heads. It was hard to tell. You get another look at it. Well, there was a right hand there. There were no heads that came together in that.
Now we got a wrestling match.
It's 3rd down and 6.
Yeah. A little MMA broke out there. I think we had a knee to the chest.
So as best as we can determine, they have not said that came from a clash of heads. So that would mean if this fight were stopped because of that cut, Matsumoto would lose the fight. That
would be my speculation. And I thought I saw it indicated from Del Blanco, the referee, that he thought it was from a punch. But the only thing that threw me off was the cut on the top of the head of Cuello.
Right.
Thinking that might have been the clash, but I didn't see that angle, and you didn't either on the replay. We are in the 2nd round. The pace continues. There's been a punch right to the ribs that Cuello snuck in there that's really thrown Matsumoto off balance, as if he had any balance. And he just caught with a right hand coming in.
The Cuello jab has been a very effective weapon as well. And that cut has not stopped bleeding, and it's bothering Matsumoto. So it's a big factor early in this fight.
Matsumoto probably can't see that left hand coming at this point. The blood is really streaming down from Cuello. And the one thing about those cuts on the top of the head, Al, as you know, they bleed profusely, but they don't really affect you unless they get in your eye and the blood gets in your eye. But the one that Matsumoto has is definitely going to be a problem, and quickly.
It's right on the eyelid. And it's bleeding a little bit less than it was earlier. And Matsumoto started to land his own jab, occasionally anyway, but Matsumoto does not really set up his power punches with the jab. He wings his power punches, and that leaves him open.
He's really struggling with the eye right now, rubbing with his gloves. And you mentioned the jab. Cuello came out in this round of throwing, doubling up on the jab to set up what he hopes would be the finishing punch, that left over the top right there. But he's got a good quick jab, Cuello does. I'm impressed with it.
Denver Cuello is one of those fighters who you could tell he's struggling to tighten up his punches, to throw straighter punches. When he does, he's very effective, like that straight left hand that he just threw.
Well, the one thing you could say that you already figured out about Matsumoto is he's a pure fighter. But
very aggressive, and obviously makes very action-packed fights because he is always coming forward and throwing caution to the wind. He's got a hell-bent for leather style, that's for sure.
40 seconds left in round 2. Scheduled for 12. It'd be a miracle if it went that far.
That would
with
be
all the damage that's been done so far. And Cuello really missing over the top, just trying to load up that left hand. And of course they're aware of that 4th round rule and not wanting to go to the scorecards.
Well, in this case, though,
but because it's been ruled, you're right. Of course, it's been ruled that it would be Cuello's victory. I believe he's won the first 2 rounds pretty handily. Final seconds, round 2, as Cuello digs into the chest. Punch right after the bell right there. I see Matsumoto up here above us. Ulysses Solis. You know, they call him Archie, and I can see the resemblance for the cartoon character. He gets a kick out of that.
ninth defense of his title. He's had it for over 3 years, and just now really people thinking of him as one of the better pound-for-pound fighters. And he said, you know what? Fame comes fight by fight, win by win. I'm accepting of where I'm at. So he's not bitter about the fact that he's gotten less attention than maybe he could have, which some fighters could be. He really has a handle on that.
He had a terrific attitude about it. He said, you know, you have to earn your way into those big bouts, and he thinks this is the ticket here tonight against Brian Valorio to get that shot at the great Ivan Calderon. Right now we're still with the minimum weights, going to round 3. A bloody fight through the first 2 rounds. Cuello's head, they've got it under control a little bit so far. Matsumoto's in the white trunks, Cuello in the green, white, and red. Now Matsumoto actually trying to work a little bit of a jab in there and keep his head away a little bit there, Al. It'll be interesting to see if they slow down. They usually don't at this weight ever slow down.
He lost a technical decision, but Matsumoto has not been stopped in his pro career, so it's intriguing.
Uppercut and right hand for Cuello, followed by a left. If that doesn't stop him, those were 3. You were talking about more accurate, sharp punches, but Cuello just got caught on the inside, but not as effective. The power, obviously, Matsumoto doesn't have as much.
It speaks to the toughness of Matsumoto, because we've seen him in this fight already, and from Cuello, who is not a big knockout puncher. Cuello has only 6 knockouts among his victories, so he's not a monstrous knockout puncher, but Matsumoto is taking his best shots.
He's going to have to, the referee's got to separate him as a punch to the back of the head, which you will see when you get in these type of battles, these type of wars, street wars, more or less. Round 3. There's the punch I'm talking about. Down in the ribs right there.
Good left hand downstairs. He's pointed out by Cuello. And then he followed with a right hook. Cuello has a very good right hook, and he's winning the battle of the right hooks. It's a fun fight, though. Both men, a lot of activity, a lot of action.
The crowd reacting every time Cuello throws that left. That one glanced off.
This is part of the charm of these lower weight classes. And of course, our card filled with these minimum and flyweight or junior flyweight fights, and they're action-packed.
Down to a knee.
That's a knockdown.
That's a knockdown. He's going to get a count. Matsumoto taking the count. There we go. First knockdown of the fight. Cuello comes straight across, tries to bore into the body.
It was that right hook from Cuello that did the damage.
It's attrition now.
None of that.
That was a warning for hitting Matsumoto when he was down, which Cuello
Oh,
did off.
uppercut. Another uppercut from Cuello. Then he throws him down, and across the ring they roll. And the crowd reacts. A 2-point takedown, Al.
You know,
they got to put some headgear on if this keeps up. That was interesting.
And that was dangerous because both men could have been injured with that, but Cuello kind of threw him down. Cuello is, of course, landing just monstrous right hooks that are hurting Matsumoto, and that's the key story here. Matsumoto can't find a way not to get hit with that right hook.
I can't say it hasn't been fun so far through 3 rounds. But Cuello instigated that little wrestling match right there, and it's not really necessary because he's dominated the first 3 rounds. Take a look at Matsumoto there, trying to work on that cut.
He's got a number of issues, and we'll see where Denver Cuello was able to knock Matsumoto down. Right uppercut that did the damage, actually more of an uppercut than a hook, and that was appropriately ruled a knockdown. And then here was the action that created what was a very awkward moment at best, as Cuello threw him down, and then Matsumoto held on to him, and they ended up rolling on the ground. And that was a dangerous situation because either man could have been injured, and this fight stopped at that moment.
Cuello was hooked up there, and then they just went roll over. I haven't seen quite a move like that before, but these guys are just in it for the. But there's that jab. See, jab followed by double jab, uppercut. Matsumoto trying to find a way to hold on right now. getting the warning.
Gene Del Blanco has his hands full in this fight. There's a lot of subplots in terms of rules being slightly bent, and he's got to deal with all of it.
Well, now Gene Del Blanco just pushed down Matsumoto. Didn't really mean to. That's interesting. Oh, and then got a big power punch on the inside for Cuello. Will this do it? Matsumoto, no, he's going to stop it. Gene Del Blanco's going to stop it now. I mean, after all, he just had breaking the fighters up. He accidentally shoved Matsumoto down. And Cuello pounced. 2 shots on the inside, and it's enough.
Well, in top 10 reasons that you know a fight's not going your way, one is when the referee pushes you down. That's number one.
The top 10.
It's kind of a tip-off. Things not going your way. For Denver Cuello, this young 22-year-old gets a win that against of course, a kind of a journeyman action fighter. He's very, of course, drinking in the adulation of his home crowd here. One of the things you can feel from Denver Cuello at that age, trying to make his way into the upper echelon of his weight division, is that there's many things he does very well and some things you can tell he's working on. Now, this is where Gene Del Blanco pushes Matsumoto and he ends up going down.
He didn't really push him that hard.
Yeah, not that hard. And, clearly Matsumoto's had issues with his balance all through this fight, so I don't know that we can blame the referee for that. But right away, Cuello will come in with that kind of uppercut, which he has landed so dramatically during the course of this fight. And you're not supposed to be able to land a lead uppercut like that.
just step across and hop into it.
Right. It's not supposed to happen that way. But Matsumoto, obviously some leaks in his defense, and so this kind of a punch can land.
Well, the first one's the one that did it there, Al. And we'll be waiting the official announcement. Of 43 seconds in is what I had it. There he is. A great showing here in front of the hometown fans on a Sunday morning. Cuello is putting on the kind of show that they expect over here in the Pacific Rim when they have these great matchups. And he was in against a fighter, a journeyman fighter, as I mentioned, had not had too much success in his last 10 fights. But this young man is now undefeated in his last 11. Let's go up to the official decision now with Mr. Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 43 seconds in round number 4. Our referee in charge, Gene Del Blanco, stops the contest. He is the winner by way of technical knockout. He is now the WBC International Minimum Weight Champion, Denver Cuello.
A happy young man there, and if you're looking for somebody who comes to fight and wants to work his way up as 22 years old, as Al was talking about, Denver Cuello putting on an excellent show here, as he expected to do, in front of the home crowd on a Sunday morning here at the Aeronautica Coliseum in the beautiful Philippine Islands. We have had such a wonderful time here. Wonderful time here. The greatest people on earth, I believe, down here, and tremendous boxing fans. And you know what's been in the newspaper all week, every day? Headline of the sports, the big fight coming up, May 2nd, Ricky Hatton and the most popular man ever in these islands.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated, in association with Solar Sports and Wonky Salute Promotions, presents a vacant championship attraction. It is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council President Jose Suleiman, President of the WBC International Mauro Betti, and the supervisor is Eric Buhain. Our timekeepers at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns, Eduardo Coronel and Leonardo Trinidad. Introducing our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside: from the Philippines, Ray Danseco; from Japan, Kazumasa Kuwata; and from New Zealand, Bruce McTavish. Introducing our 3rd man in the ring, our referee in charge of this bout from the United States, Gene Del Blanco.
Fight. And here comes Hiroshi Matsumoto.
First fight outside of Japan. He's 3-6-1 in his last 10 bouts. And after that quick knockout, maybe they had to really strap him on and get him out here as quickly as possible. But we haven't seen him fight, but I can guess he is one of those Asian-type warriors that will come in, and we expect fast action, especially at minimum weight. Now, over the years, as we've seen minimum weight fighters, sometimes they hit the canvas a lot and they bounce right back up and go right back at it. And he's got an international television audience here, and some fans, obviously, in the arena.
That's for sure. And he is not a monstrous knockout puncher. Only 8 KOs in his 18 wins, but he is an action fighter by all accounts. And he comes in off a win over Makoto Suzuki, an 8-round unanimous decision win. As you mentioned, overall in his last. And in a moment, we're going to find out about these two fighters as we head to the tail of the tape. And there it is for Cuello with both the height and reach advantage over Matsumoto, who has never fought outside of Japan. This is Matsumoto's first fight at age 31 outside of Japan. So we'll see how he fares making a road trip against Denver Cuello, of course, from this country. So we'll see how they play out. And a reminder of the rules that we've already seen: 10-boy must, no standing 8 count. As you look down the rules, and as I mentioned, if it ends before the 4th round because of a foul or an accidental foul, it would be a no contest. After 4, they'd go to the scorecards.
Well, Al, there's nothing like getting up early in the morning, getting off to a bang start right off the bat.
This is our version of breakfast at Wimbledon, but a little bit more explosive.
We're in the Arenate Coliseum. And as everybody remembers, of course, Bob Arum has great stories about the Thrilla in Manila. Now, notice the date, officially October 1st, September 30th on the poster, which I found interesting coming in. And what a night it was. I mean, the war, the stories about how Frazier could not come out. And one of the great myths about that fight that I was talking to Mr. Arum about was that everybody said, oh, it was 125 in the ring. Well, nobody can survive at 125 degrees, but it was warm and humid, as we found out.
And both those fighters created really one of the great fights of all time. Ali controlling the early rounds, Joe Frazier in the middle rounds, getting Ali on the ropes and hitting him with shots that would bring a building down. And Ali got through it, and of course ultimately won that. It's 10 fights. He struggled a bit, and he's hoping to do a little bit better against Denver Cuello.
He's a 14-year pro. All his fights, one more time, all in Japan, but he has fought twice for the Japanese minimum weight title. And here comes the local hero, Denver Cuello, 22 years old. We're going to see a couple of southpaws out in there that we should mention. And this young man, Denver, is ranked number 11 by the WBC. He is the Filipino minimum weight champion, hasn't lost since June 06 when he was TKO'd in the 2nd round by Ray Magreno. He turned pro in 04. He's been cut a couple of times in the ring, but he won that title in 07. 7-7-07. He rolled 3 sevens. A unanimous decision against Armand De La Cruz, and right now it's time to get set for this one with Jimmy Lennon Jr.